Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Thursday, December 19th after Celtics Bulls. Celtics loss to the Bulls. Celtics' sixth loss of the season. A 117-108 defeat at the hands of the Bulls, who came into TD Garden, took a bunch of threes and won a game, a la the Celtics themselves. Celtics couldn't get stuff going from three. Obviously, there was the whole tech debacle at the end of the game, which we'll talk about as well. But first and foremost, Celtics lose. Tough one.
This is the worst day ever. This is the worst Sam day ever. Everything went my way except until it didn't. Celtics wore white at home. Jaden Springer played. Zach LaVine was on the other team. Then they lost. Like it's like the meme of Gru where he has like his plan on the easel and it's like step 1, step 2, step 3, and then step 4 is not what he planned and he like double checks. That's me today. I'm like, wait, they lost? How did they lose? They lost because they didn't make any threes. Today was just one of those days where they couldn't buy a bucket. I thought overall, and this is a consensus from Joe too, that like they kind of did everything fine. Like they didn't really feel like they were playing abnormal ball. Like they were moving the ball pretty well. They were pretty engaged on defense for most of the game. They created a lot of good open looks. They just did not make them. And when you're not making the shots that they got tonight, you're just probably not going to win very many games.
Yeah, they didn't make anything. And to make matters worse, like if you ever needed a game to exemplify why 3-point volume is almost just as important as 3-point percentage, like this was it, right? Celtics got up a bunch of threes like they usually did, but so did the Bulls. Bulls took 52 threes in this game, and they only made 19. But that was enough. They made 5 more threes than the Celtics. That's a huge advantage, right?
Yeah.
Celtics made more twos than the Bulls in this game, but it did not matter because they made 5 more threes in what was a 9-point win for them. Add in the second chance points, add in all this other stuff. Celtics didn't even turn the ball over. It was just threes, right? Jaylen had 3 turnovers. Jason had 1, and those were the only turnovers on the Celtics. And the Celtics forced 10 turnovers. It's just the threes, man. They got outshot from 3, and that was enough to do it. Also, their endgame defense, letting the Bulls get to the lane, was awful as well. The defense really took a hit in that second half.
Of layups.
But, yeah. It was just a bad defensive game, I think, for the Celtics. They got beat
in the fourth quarter
by their own game.
Very tough. The pregame,
you're talking.
You pump fake me this time.
No, I'm talking, and you're only talking in the gaps, and then I stop talking to let you talk, but then you don't talk, so I start talking again, and then you start talking again.
In the pregame, Bruce put in the chat was like, "Who's gonna have a big game tonight?" And I was like, "You bet your ass, Sumu's gonna have a big game tonight." And he wasn't like the guy for the Bulls. He ended up with 17 points. He was unstoppable in the early fourth quarter when things started to get out of hand for the Celtics. And he was really like the catalyst. He was the guy that they couldn't stop. Zach LaVine had a big game too, which is awful for me. 36 points. I don't have his – actually, I do have it. I have it in a different tab. He was – this is only fourth quarter numbers. You know what? I'll just rot. I don't really care what his efficiency was. Felt like he didn't miss very much in this game.
He had 36 points on 11 of 19 shooting and 6 of 11 from 3.
Yeah, pretty good game for him. Yeah. So very tough for me. Yeah. Listen, this was just one of those games where you're the bug on the windshield. That's what it was. Except they only lost by 9. But it just felt like they had no say. Like I've been in this arena this season, and I've like turned to whoever it is I'm sitting next to and being like, "Oh yeah, I think they're gonna lose," like a couple times. Tonight, I was like certain they were gonna lose. It was like I think they were down 9 in the fourth, and then they cut it to 6, they cut it to 3, and then the technical fouls happened, and then they were dead. I was actually right when I was like, "Yeah, they're gonna lose."
Let's talk text is what I was going to say. Let's talk about that incident at the end of the game. Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard were going for a jump ball against, I think it was Zach LaVine. Could be wrong, but against a Bulls player. Dosunmu, sorry. And Jaylen Brown seemingly got to the ball first, but the ref said Peyton Pritchard got to the ball first. Joe Mazzulla, Sam Cassell, Tony Dobbins took a couple steps on the court to dispute the call. Immediately got a tech, Joe Mazzulla did, for what he said was stepping on the court.
Yes.
They were displeased. They ran around trying to get the official. Joe Mazzulla had to be held back by Sam Cassell and Tony Dobbins. And then Jaylen Brown, as he told us, told the officials that was bad call. Basically said, you messed that one up. That wasn't right. And the ref said to him, per Jaylen, if you say that to me again, I'll tech you up. And he said it again. He said, you called a tech for no reason. And then he got a tech. And Jaylen Brown after the game said, you can't threaten people with techs. That's not right. Jason Tatum then got a tech a few minutes later for what Tony Brothers described in the pool report as a obscene gesture towards the ref, or a respect for the game tech or whatever, because he made a gesture towards the ref, whatever, some garbage. And then after the game, Joe Mazzulla stormed onto the court and tried to chase down the refs. Basically, he was trying to get him. Sam Cassell held him back. The clip, sure.
Yeah, I'll find it. You just keep talking. I know where to find it.
It's fine. I can find it. I have it.
Okay.
He stormed onto the court, was screaming at the refs. You can read lips, which I'm not the best at, but it's not hard to read. Fuck you. On the lips of Joe Mazzulla towards the refs. Here is the clip of him running at the officials and yelling at them after the game.
Who hit Jaylen Brown up in the fourth quarter.
Well, Joe's got to be careful because they could suspend him in the next game.
If they suspend him on Saturday, that'll be crazy. Shout out to the official, just absolutely unmoved.
Sam
Cassell got in some words as well. And then after the game, Joe was asked about what he said to the official in that moment. He was basically asked, what were you trying to say? What was the message you were trying to get across when you said that? Jay King asked him, and Joe Mazzulla had this to say about what he was trying to say to Justin Van Dyne and the officials.
It's just there's 10 to 12 that you got to.
You got the technical not for anything you said, but because you stepped onto the court there.
Yeah, they stepped on the court.
And after the game, looked like a couple of assistants and security guard needed to kind of hold you back. What message were you trying to deliver there?
I just hadn't seen them in a while, so just a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I wasn't sure I was them before the holiday, and I just let a moment go by to where you wish someone, just the best, to them and theirs and their families.
That moment.
Oh, Joe.
The best part about this is Jack and I are both in the front row, like right in front of him, laughing.
Trying not to laugh, but getting a smile up there.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm making like his face is doing everything.
Joe Mazzulla's all time.
Yeah, guy's hilarious.
He's all
doesn't
time.
miss.
No, this was awesome from him. Obviously, he didn't want to get fined. Didn't want to say anything negative. Very clear, he was just really pissed off about the calls. But it is what it is, and I think the Celtics didn't play well enough to win this game. I don't think the refs are the reason they lost, but was kind of bullshit.
So if you want to go down the refs road, it's a very difficult time of the game to have the refs absolutely just lose control or try and take control too hard, whatever way you want to frame it. Like they took over, they had the red ring around them on 2K when your player gets hot. Like that was what the refs had. And the guy made it about him. Van Dyne made it about him. The Celtics never really recovered from that point. They got outscored by 6 for the rest of the game. You mentioned the Tatum tech, that played into it too. They really weren't getting any stops. They were just frustrated. And, some of that has to do with what happened in the middle of the quarter with the technicals. But when you're shooting 25% from 3, and Joe Mazzulla said this literally in his press conference, when you're shooting 25%, you're used to shooting 37%. It's frustrating. You're doing the process. You're doing everything right, yet it's not working for you. Think about anything in your everyday life. If you're used to, let's say, I don't know, driving to work in 20 minutes and it takes you 45 minutes, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be annoyed. You're like, man, I shouldn't be late to work, but traffic got me. They hit 3-point traffic today is what happened. They just could not find the bottom of the net. They were creating good looks. I think the process was fine. I don't think the Celtics are overly upset with how they played. I think they probably are upset about how they let themselves get frustrated and they let it actually affect their game. But overall, I don't think they're going to be like, man, we just got completely outplayed. No, just kind of an unlucky night. It happens.
Yeah, it is what it is. We can listen to Jaylen Brown talk about the text too, because he went on a long rant. And I think
he had
it's
a lot to say.
worth listening to,
I
worth
agree.
putting in the show, so we can take a look and see what he had to say.
How do you guys try to control your emotions?
Here's the thing, like, you get fined. I got fined a couple weeks ago for like inadvertent gestures that, are determined not a part of the game, which was fine. I took the fine. But like, what part of the game is like a ref, calling inadvertent technical foul? And then like I said to him, you called a tech for no reason. He said, if you say it to me again, I'm gonna call another tech. You call a tech for no reason. Then he called the tech. Like, man, get out of here. You can't threaten guys with a technical foul. That's not part of the game either. You want to find people for gestures and all this stuff. Find that. Like, that's some bullshit. Like, we were down 3 at that time on the jump ball. Then that led to us being down 8. That affects the game. That could have been avoided. Joe didn't say anything to deserve a tech. And then when I come up to you and say, you're getting a tech for no reason, as a captain, before the game, I come and shake all the refs' hands because I speak for my team. I'm allowed to talk. So when I tell you, you just call a tech for no reason, and you say, if you say it again, I'm going to call another tech, then I say it again, and you call a tech, you just threaten your whistle as a threat. Like, that's not a part of the game either. And I think it's bullshit.
And that was Jaylen. Yeah, clearly not pleased.
And it sucks because I said this to Jack when we were leaving the room. These guys are going to get, like, Jaylen's probably going to catch a fine for that. Like, he's going to lose like half some people's salary from saying this. We also have to like ask them those things. Well, not me today, but the media in general has to ask these questions because it's what people want to know. It's the story of the game. Like, that's what I'm writing about after the game is, yeah, the technical fouls really kind of not turned the tide, but changed the energy of this game at the very least. Like, Jason Tatum literally said, like, that was a tough stretch of the game for this to happen because it really killed the flow of the game and it really changed things. So people have to talk about it. They get put in a corner where they can't really criticize these guys. According to Jaylen, the whole process during the game was pretty unfair, and there's nothing that they can do about it. They just have to sit back and take it. And that kind of sucks. But I don't really know what the solution is because you can't have the refs not have authority. They're supposed to have the authority. You have to like have somebody to call the game and blow the whistle and call fouls and keep guys in check. But at the same time, you can't have it go overboard like this. Even though I will say, I do love a good ref show every once in a while because it gets the people going in here. Like, arena was blasting, people booing, people were fired up, ref you suck chants. Like, the energy in here was actually pretty good tonight, I think, from the jump, especially from the fans. I think the Celtics tried to play a good game from the jump. They just couldn't put the ball in the basket. It's going to make it tough.
Yeah, it was brutal. Also, I'll read it for the audio listeners, but this is the pool report from after the game. Adam Himmelsbach of the Globe talked to Tony Brothers, who was the crew chief. Adam Himmelsbach asked, what did Joe Mazzulla do that warranted a technical foul? Brothers said he was out of the coach's box and on the floor. Question, so it wasn't anything he said. Brothers said no, it wasn't. Question, what did Jaylen Brown do to warrant the second the technical foul? He questioned our integrity multiple times during that same sequence. And then what did Jason Tatum do to warrant his technical foul? Tatum received a respect for the game technical for an overt action towards an official. The bullshit part to me is if they're calling techs for every time the coach is out of the coach's box, the coach should get a tech every minute of every game ever. Because the coaches are never in the coach's box. They are constantly and consistently on the court, running up and down the sidelines and doing whatever. Billy Donovan was on the court multiple times this game. And that's not a shot at Billy Donovan. That is just what every NBA coach does. So saying he got a tech for being on the court, no, wrong. Like, because this happens every time. Coaches come on the court all the time. They talk to officials all the time. It is absolutely because of the manner in which Joe Mazzulla approached it. Regardless, it is what it is. The techs were tough. I'm pretty sure refs get like not fined behind the scenes or maybe fined, but like spoken to and discuss things behind the scenes. It's just not made public. So I'm sure this will be discussed at length, whether that means Justin Van Dyne, who was the official, gets reprimanded or just talked to, or they just discuss it internally to improve or whatever. But this was bullshit. It was a soft tech on Joe. Jaylen getting threatened for attack for saying something is, I think, pretty bogus as well. And then I think it just spiraled to the point where they were just letting it fly. So I think it was pretty lame the way the refs handled it.
Yeah, I don't really know how long Justin Van Dyne's been an official. This is usually the kind of thing we see from a ref that's trying to get their feet wet, isn't really sure how to handle a situation in a game, is being somewhat challenged by a player. I mean, even though Jaylen tells us he was like, I don't think that was fair, whatever, he might have exactly said that to the officials. So he's 1 year.
No, this is his 11th season.
Oh, okay. So not really that new. I guess he's new compared to some of these guys, like Tony Brothers been around forever. But nonetheless, the Celtics let the frustrations that came along with missing shots they'd usually make boil over into the rest of their game, and that's really where they lost. It's like your takeaway from watching us today or watching the game today should not be, oh, the Celtics got screwed by the refs. Like, was it unfortunate that all that went down in the fourth quarter? Oh, yeah. And it was a really tough swing when they gave up 2 free throws because of the 2 techs, and then they gave up a 3. It's a 5-point swing after a jump ball that they could have easily won. The Celtics still had to execute down the stretch. They were in the game. I think they got it back down to 3 after that, and they just weren't able to finish. They gave up 18 points after that happened. That's in less than half a quarter. Chicago shot 6 of 9 from the floor. The Celtics didn't shoot horrendous from the floor. They were like 41% for the rest of the game, but it just wasn't up to standard. Like, it just wasn't the same sort of basketball that we had seen them play for the rest of the game.
They were rattled.
They were rattled, and it's human nature to get rattled. Like, these are people. They're very much people. So what are you going to do? It's 1 of 82. If you're upset about this game at the team, I don't know what to tell you. If you're upset because of the way things went down, sure, be upset. It's part of liking sports. Get mad. But don't think the Celtics are dead because they lost this.
No. Justin Van Dyne, some other info. Favorite TV show, Entourage. Favorite movie, The Bourne Movies. Favorite musician, Jimmy Allen. Favorite book, Moneyball. Favorite meal, sushi. Favorite app, The Chive. Most likely to visit Ireland, and his bucket list is to visit every MLB stadium. So just to humanize Justin Van Dyne, and because I think it's funny, they make all the refs give a bunch of fun facts. That was mine. I'm sorry, this is completely irrelevant. I just want to see Tony Brothers fun facts. Favorite TV show is 24. Favorite movie is Claudine. Favorite musician is Earth, Wind, and Fire. That rocks.
Good
favorite
taste.
book is the Bible. Favorite meal is fried croakers. Favorite app is Spotify. Most likely to visit Israel. Hidden talent cooking. What the fuck are fried croakers?
Can you please just screenshot the part where it's like favorite book, the Bible, and tweet it?
No, absolutely not. All right, you do it. Actually,
I will do it if
don't do that. No, don't. Why?
It's funny.
No. Jesus, no. Literally. Anyways, yeah, the Celtics just didn't play well enough to win this game at the end of the day. They got outshot from 3. Like, this was literally the Celtics getting a taste of their own medicine. There were some plays late in the game where Zach LaVine was just able to beat his guy one-on-one. It sent the Celtics in rotation, and the Bulls got a 3, and it looked exactly what the Celtics do to other teams. And that's what happened all night. They didn't guard Zach LaVine well enough. He had 36 points. He looked really good in this game. But going over, I mean, we can go over some individual player performances. I don't think we have to necessarily in a game like this. I thought Tatum was really good. I thought he played a solid game. I think Kristaps was really good defensively. It was a pretty rough Jaylen game. He got to the line a few times late, so and that improved a little. Derek was good at the start, and then he slowed down. He got cold. Tatum had 31, 10, and 4. Jaylen had 19, 3, and 4, but only 1 of 8 from 3. Kristaps had 20 and 8. Derek had 16, 8, and 4. Drew had 6 and 4 assists. A pretty quiet game from him. Pritchard had 14 points, 6 and 3. Al Horford had 2, 5, and 2 off the bench. This was only the second game this season where they had JB, JT, KP, Derek White, Drew, and Al available. And the first one was the first game against the Bulls. I saw that before the game, and that was funny. But yeah, pretty okay game all around. Some rough performances in there as well. But Sam, your guy got some minutes. Jaden Springer, how about that?
He was good, except for he didn't make the three. So here's the thing about the Springer minutes. I think Springer did what Springer does really well. Like, this didn't feel the way it felt in the preseason, where you didn't feel him on the defensive end. You didn't feel the crazy energy he brings. And like, the main thing he brings to the table was actually on display in this game. Did a really good job putting pressure on ball handlers. Poked the ball away a couple times. He knocked it off of, I think, THT's leg in the fourth quarter. The problem with him is the offense, because he is not a reliable three-point shooter, unfortunately. He's only a 21% guy for his career. He missed the open one he had today. The Celtics offense had him in the dunker spot. The spacing is not good when Jaden Springer is in the dunking spot, because you don't even get the vertical spacing that you would get with a Luke Cornett or a Nimi, or just for a better example, Rob, when he was here, where it felt like those guys were a safety valve. If you give Jaden the ball in the dunker spot, unless he's already moving towards the basket, it's really tough to create anything worthwhile from there for him. And that's where it really felt wrong.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, the Celtics played Drew out of the dunker spot a lot too, but the difference is Drew Holiday is an adept post player and also just very smart, and he can make a lot more plays than Jaden Springer can from that spot. I thought he was good. On the glass, especially. He was getting up for some rebounds. He was really fighting on the glass. He had a couple good defensive possessions. He had one bad defensive possession where I think I assumed just blew by him, and then he got screened, then he was out of the play. So I think there's a mix of both. I thought overall it was a positive game for him, but the offense, like you said, just isn't really there, unfortunately, which it is what it is. I will say, though, underrated storyline that we didn't really talk about, KP's fine. he's just fine. We spent all this time over the last 4 days or 3 days or 2 days or however long since we've gotten the updates saying, oh, my God, what about this? What about this? He played, and he looked pretty damn good. I thought he was really good on defense, too. He was a menace. I thought Tatum was really good on defense in this game as well. Everything kind of fell apart for everybody at the end, but before everything fell apart in the fourth quarter, I thought this was an awesome defensive game for the Celtics, and they eventually started deteriorating, but I thought they were rotating well, especially in the first quarter. I thought Tatum was guarding guards and Vucevic and bigs, and he was doing a good job being versatile. I thought KP did a good job denying passes and being a force inside. I thought Jaylen Brown even was a good point of attack defender in the first quarter. Derek had a snatch block on fucking Patrick Williams, and then Jason Tatum sent Patrick Williams crashing to the floor with a crossover. Tough Patrick Williams game. But then it all fell apart in the fourth, and it went to shit.
You nailed it. Rough finish in this one. In a game, like we said, like I said several times, like this was not a game that you watched and you were like, damn, they're playing bad. They weren't sloppy. They only turned the ball over 4 times. They literally just didn't make shots. Sometimes that's going to happen. Like the games they lost in the playoffs last year, they really weren't able to shoot the ball that well from memory. Like it was just they ended up having stinkers every once in a while, and that's going to happen when you play the way the Celtics play. You're bound to be cold some days.
For sure. It is what it is. Any final thoughts on this game? I think we covered it all. I don't think there's anything else.
Celtics getting their look back on Saturday. Watch out.
It's true. It's true. They go to Chicago and expect a fun one. I wonder who's officiating that game. I suppose we'll see.
It would be fire if they rolled out the officials too, like the same guys.
Let me see. For that game, we have. Come on, load. Really? I'm trying to load it because you can go date by date here with officials and see who refed each game. I wonder if you can't go into the future, though. Can I not go into the future? I can't go into the future. This is dumb. Let us know what you thought of this game in the comments. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, leave a review, and follow us on Apple. And all that, Sam, take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of Celtics Bulls, and hit the notification bell because Jack and I are here every day, no matter what. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps like this one are up the morning after each game, and other videos are on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. We also do streams before every game. We do the pre-games for a half hour. They're a ton of fun. Come hang out. Today's was a blast. We watched Jack and the Wizard of Oz as a high schooler. You can also find all of our pods and recaps up on Spotify and Apple. So if you give us a follow there, you'll get all of those right to your feed. We'd appreciate it very much if you left us a 5-star review because, well, it helps other people find us. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We'll read those probably Sunday this week because Sunday's full pod is going to be
Also, it's
Good.
just gonna be game recap. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Shout out First to the Floor. They got mentioned on the
Oh, yeah.
broadcast. It was fucking
for them.
sick. Those guys
Those
are
are our
out.
guys. Yeah, you can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We read them every pod. The socials are How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jack's Money NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us.
Tic-tac-toe.